All right, Dice. Thanks for stopping in, man.
Thanks for having me, man.
So, what have you been saying recently?
I just been in the studio working, trying to put out new music
Nice.
and just familiarizing myself with the industry out here.
Okay, okay. So you're originally from Nigeria, correct?
Yes, so I'm half Nigerian, half Ghanaian, and I'm also Canadian, so I have three nationalities.
Wow. Wow, yeah, that's
Yeah.
crazy. So, what's the story with that? Were you originally born in Canada
Yeah, I was
or?
born in Lagos, Nigeria,
Okay.
and then I moved here when I was really young, started schooling and everything. And then a couple years ago, I got a record deal out in Africa, and then I just moved back and started doing Afro pop. But right now, we just out here trying to make it global.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's dope. So let's get into that record deal in Africa then. So you originally moved here when you were a young child, after growing up a little bit there. So what was the process of getting signed to an African label?
Yeah, so in like I think 2013, I had gone out there to Nigeria with my brother T Tash. We was out there just promoting music, cause like I'm a big fan of the Afro pop, and I just started doing it from here. And when we got there, we were playing my music for a lot of people in the industry there. And then I met a label executive. His name is Mi. He's an artist as well, and he hears some of our music, and he was really impressed. And then he just talked about building and putting our music out there in Africa, and the rest to say is history.
So you were already making Afropop tracks while you were in Canada.
Yeah, so I was doing rap songs and I was doing Afro pop as well.
Okay.
I was always interested in rapping and also just doing versatile music, pretty much.
That's interesting. So you
Yeah.
eventually showed those guys some of the music you made over here.
Yeah, so I showed them some of the music and some of the videos that we already shot, and they were just blown away, and that's how we just started working really.
Oh, nice. So you already had videos ready and
Yeah,
everything.
we already had.
So you're already
Yeah, we
grinding.
already grinding. We already put in work, and they just accepted it.
Nice.
Yeah.
Wow, that's super dope. So what brings you back to the city right now?
What brings me back to Toronto? Really, I feel like the Toronto music scene is emerging right now. It's growing, and a lot of people outside of Canada don't really know about the music, and I feel like there's a lot to it that people need to hear. I'm a big fan of like Pressa and Houdini and my boy YG and Robin Banks and all of them, and I feel like they're really talented. People need to hear what they're doing. Drake is doing a good job out there in the States, but I feel like Africans need to hear it. And on the flip side, I feel like a lot of Canadians are not really in tune with what's going on in Africa. There's a lot of misconceptions about what's going on, and I feel like I am the guy that is going to bring that merger and sort of create awareness about what's going on.
Okay, so you really want to get each side aware of each other. So you
Yeah,
want
that's right.
Africans to be aware
Yeah,
of
and
what
just create
Monty's saying.
unity and love. You know what I'm saying?
That's
Through the
dope.
music.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's killer. All right, so what do you think the sort of perception of Toronto music is out in Africa? Or what do you think it will be once you merge the two?
The perception of Toronto music in Africa. I don't know. I don't think there's a perception yet. I don't think that it's really big enough for there to be a impression or perception. But I feel like it's good enough for the people to accept it. It's very similar to what's going on in the States. And American music is huge out there, so there's no reason why they're not going to accept that.
Yeah.
The Africans are receptive people generally.
Yeah. And it's definitely still a pretty young scene, Toronto. It's
Yeah.
booming, but it's still pretty young
Yeah, it is.
compared to Atlanta, New
Yeah.
York, and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But that's super dope that you're trying to sort of unite the two scenes.
Yeah, for sure.
So do you like it over here? How does it compare to being back in Nigeria?
It's the same for me, man. In Nigeria, there's a lot of family. Here, I have family too. And the people are very similar in the ways that they behave. I feel like Toronto people are very welcoming and very diverse people. And it's the same thing as Africa. We're very welcoming people and very cultured. And so there's not so much difference. The only difference that I see is maybe in the music business part, where in Toronto, people get like royalties and, we have the whole digital distribution and marketing and all that stuff figured out. But in Nigeria, that part of the music is just growing. What I'm saying? The music is big, but people aren't necessarily getting what they deserve off the music, when it comes to money and stuff. But, we're getting there.
Oh, that's pretty interesting. So the music side's obviously exploding right now, but the business side is still catching up.
Yeah, still catching
That's
up.
kind of interesting. It's
Yeah.
kind of the opposite here. We have the music side that's still catching up.
But the business,
But
yeah,
the
the
business
business is
side is
booming.
booming.
Yeah.
So what was it like growing up in Nigeria? Or how long were you actually growing up in Nigeria for before you moved to Canada?
To be honest, I grew up everywhere. I was moving a lot, just growing up. I never really stayed in one place. So my childhood was a lot of traveling, you know what I'm saying? So
Okay.
I feel like that's one of the reasons why my music is very versatile, and I just, make so many different stuff and different sounds, and that's why I just want to, tap into a lot of different stuff generally.
So how did you first get into making music then?
How did I get into making music? I feel like all my life I just really was involved with music. I was either drumming at school, or just my mom used to sing in a choir, so I'd go with her to church and just listen to her sing, and I was just always interested and intrigued, you know what I'm saying? And I just found myself recording. I don't know. It was just a part of my life growing up. There was never really a point where I decided that I wanted to go into music. Music chose me really.
All right, so looking back on your decision to sign to this label in Nigeria, what would you say to an up and coming artist in your position who has some videos, who's been grinding a little bit? What would your advice be to them?
I mean, if a label approaches an artist, an emerging artist, I think that artists need to be very, very sure, the intentions of the label, and be very sure about the capacity as well of the label, and see if the vision aligns, because a lot of people get into a lot of crazy shitty deals these days, and they can't get out of it. So you got to know what you want, you know what I'm saying, and just make sure everybody's on the same page generally. And
Okay.
of course, you can do an independent. You know what I'm saying? It's not necessary to be signed to any label. There's a lot of artists that are, soloing it these days. So it's up to you and how you feel about it.
Yeah. Yeah, I think at the end of the day, it's kind of about the resources you get.
Yeah.
Yeah, people like Chance the Rapper who aren't signed to labels, but they still have a lot of resources
Yeah, of
at their
course.
disposal.
And that happens in Nigeria as well. There's a lot of artists that are doing like independent stuff and still, making stuff out of it.
Obviously, part of the reason why you sound how you sound is because you got signed in Nigeria, but why not adopt that traditional Toronto sound?
Why not adopt the Toronto sound?
Yeah, yeah. Or why sort of wasn't that your original sort of direction in making music?
That was actually how I started. I started off just rapping, and Afrobeats came along like later on. I was making music with a rapper called Danny O. I don't know if you know Danny O.
I've heard of him.
Yeah, so I was making music with Danny O and an artist called Promise. I was working with some veteran Toronto rappers here, and I just caught on to Afrobeat later on, and somehow people seem to like the blend of my Toronto sound and African sound.
Okay, that's pretty interesting. So, how would you describe your sound if you had to?
It's a fusion of everything. Yeah, it's just a fusion of so many different things.
I guess that's kind of goes along what you were saying before, how you grew up
Yeah,
in so many different places. Do you think that kind of bleeds into your music?
yeah. That really gets into my music because like, when I make music, a lot of people like can relate to it. Doesn't matter where you're from or where you've been, because I've been in a lot of places and I've seen a lot of things. So like, it kind of reflects to my music. Yeah.
Okay, so you obviously show a lot of Toronto scenery in your music videos, shots of the CN
Right.
Tower and whatnot. Uh, how involved are you aiming to get in Toronto's music industry?
How involved? I want to get really involved. I really, really want to get involved. I want to make music with everybody, and just shine light on Toronto and Canada, and just let the world know. You know what I'm saying, that Canada is beautiful. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah, that sounds super dope. So, do you have any collaborations with any Toronto artists you're allowed to reveal, or?
Yeah. We did a couple songs just a few nights ago. Me and YG was in the studio working on a couple stuff. The really interesting sounds. Me and Houdini as well. We were gonna work on something. I have a couple songs with Robin Banks as well. And yeah, I'm looking to work with more people.
Okay.
As time goes on. Yeah.
That'll be an interesting collaboration because I feel like as of late, YG's stuff anyway has been so Toronto
Yeah.
focused. And then you have sort of the Afro pop worldly
Right.
sound. So what can we expect from those tracks? Are we expecting more Toronto sound or more Afro pop sound?
It's a really interesting blend. You know what I'm saying? YG's talented. He's versatile. So you just look out for it. It's dropping soon.
What's coming up for you music wise, just in general?
Generally, right now we working on a tape. We're working on a project that's scheduled to drop later on this year. Before that, we're gonna be doing like some features and dropping singles here and there. But I'm excited about the tape. You know what I'm saying? I haven't put out no projects yet. Since the inception of my career, and this is a big moment for me. You know what I'm saying? I'm excited about it, and yeah,
Okay, so this is going to be your debut.
yeah, it's my debut tape.
Okay, okay. So what can we expect off of this tape? Are we going to expect more of an African sound, more of a traditional hip hop sound? What's going to be on that?
It's just world music, just trying to unite the world through music. So it's gonna be, artists from all sorts of places, sounds from all sorts of places. We just blending everything to turn it into one.
So something I wanted to talk about was the Weekend cosign. I saw on your IG the Weekend was bumping. What was the track?
Turtle.
Yeah, yeah. Which
Yeah,
is a pretty dope track, by the way.
thank you.
What was it like to have the Weekend bumping one of your tracks?
That was huge for me. Africa was excited about that. Oterela was one of my biggest songs generally. It got a lot of plays, got a lot of attention from the people, and I was excited to get the cosign from Weekend because he's also from Canada, and that meant a lot to me. You know what I'm saying? It means that I'm getting the attention of the people from here that I'm from as well. You know what I mean? So yeah, that was big.
Yeah, and it's pretty dope seeing, I guess, people from the same place as you bumping your music.
Right.
It's kind of like, when your close friends really fuck with your music, they're not going to lie to you, right?
Yeah.
So it means you're doing something.
Right.
So do you have any sort of relationship with The Weeknd, or was it more of just
Do I have what?
a relationship with The Weeknd?
No, I don't have a relationship with the
Oh,
Weeknd.
okay,
It
so
was
he was bumping
Yeah,
your
he
tracks.
was just bumping the track.
That's pretty
Really.
dope. I mean, that would be a pretty cool
It would
collaboration,
be. I
sort of
know.
African music and The
Yeah, we'll
Weeknd.
try to make that happen.
And I also saw on your Instagram you're in the studio with Tinny Tempa and Wizkid.
Yeah.
So what's the story behind that?
Yeah, so we hooked up when I was in the UK, I think sometime last year, and we was in the studio just vibing. We came up with a couple of songs that we jumped on. We're hoping to put that out on the tape as well.
Okay, so you guys came up with a couple tracks then.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Dope. And that was why you were in the UK.
Yeah, that was in the UK.
Nice, nice. So do you see a lot of love from the UK?
Yeah, a lot of love. Last time I was in the UK, everyone is reaching out like Dave, Jay Huss, Skepta showing a lot of love, Tiny Tempa, you know. Yeah, everyone's showing love. So it's just confirmation that the music is global. It should be global, and that's what we're just trying to do right now.
So do you find the UK supports a lot of the African music?
Yeah, I think it's really big out there. They have really caught on to the Afro pop wave. So it's more than what it is right here in Canada. So we need to get it there.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, that'd be pretty interesting. I mean, a lot of people from the UK fuck with Toronto because there's similar
Yeah.
slang, similar cadences. And I feel like a lot of people from the UK also fuck with sort of the Afro pop sound because of, some similar cultural backgrounds. A lot
Yeah.
of African people being in the UK. So it'll be interesting to see how the three scenes kind of connect. Well, Dice, man, that's all the questions we got for you. So it's great to have you stop
Yeah.
in.
Thanks for having me.
Appreciate
It's
you
great
coming
talking
through.
to you.
Uh, Anything you want to shout out or plug before we wrap this up?
No, really, man. I just want to say, man, like we need to just love one another, and just unite. You know what I'm saying? We need to stop all the violence, all the shootings and stuff, and just be together, really.